My younger son just got back from 12 years away. The last 2 years in Afghanistan, based in Afghanistan. And the day he got home, which was 2 weeks ago today, we sat on the back deck around noontime for about 20 minutes. And well, you're hearing that gray-crested flycatcher in the background with its beep. We saw him and I think it was close to 20 different species we counted just in the backyard in that first half hour, which is quite heavenly.
So I think when I look ahead where we are now and where we want this land to be in the future, I mean, ideally we'd like to see it still productive and active in the future. I mean, we're not going to be able to carry on forever, and we're not sure if our children will come back and do it. And they may not. But we need to set the groundwork so that it continues to be productive years down the line.
Beginning line of one of Robert Frost's poems, The Gift Outright, says, "The land was ours before we were the land's." And I've always liked that idea that you can own something, but it takes a while before it becomes a part of you. And that's what conservation is about. That's what taking care of Maine land is all about. Not just owning it, but having it own us as well.
My name is Jennifer Irving. I am Executive Director of Sebasticook Regional Land Trust. Sebasticook Regional Land Trust has a mission to recognize and conserve the rich, wild and working landscape of Central Maine's Sebasticook River region. As a land trust, we work with willing landowners who wish to conserve the lands that they love and the resources that our communities rely upon. Things like working farmland that provide local food and jobs, clean water, places to hunt, fish, recreate with our children, well-managed working forests, all the things that make Central Maine such an amazing place to live and to work. We also provide educational programming for all ages, celebrating the wonder, beauty, and diversity of this amazing landscape that we live in.
I'm Chip Bessie. My family's had a connection to this area, Waldo County in particular, for nearly 2 centuries. We've been farmers and woodsmen and businessmen. We're really fortunate in Central Maine to have so much left, so much existing of the natural world. I'm very optimistic. I'll tell you what pleases me as much as anything is to be in an area where people identify with the landscape, where they take pride in it, they work and recreate in it sustainably because it sustains them. My particular interest as a forester is in the working landscape. For me, my desire is to see people working and using the resources and just doing it responsibly. I'm very excited about new young people getting interested in agriculture. Watching young people with new ideas, not a lot of capital, but a lot of energy, wanting to learn how to make good use of Maine's cropland. The family farms, the big family farms, potatoes and dairy in particular, and beef to an extent, are wonderful. It's part of the heritage. It's like me owning a woodlot that my grandfather owned 70 or 80 years ago. Being a forester means taking a very long view of what you do today will probably benefit the 3rd generation from now. And what I am gaining today is probably the result of my father or grandfather or even someone before him taking good care of the land.
So when I think about being involved with the Land Trust, I think it represents everything that I believe in that farm preservation, preserving a working landscape, bringing awareness to people of the value that our land has. My name is Linda Hartkoff. My husband and I own the land that we're on right now. It's called Heart to Heart Farm. We bought the farm in 1990, and we are the fourth family to own this farm. It's been an agricultural land for 150 years now. And at the moment, I would say pretty much 80% of it is working, whether being an active forest land, as far as forest management, or in grazing, or in crop production. So, and then you have the home farm, back here at the barnyard, we have gardens, we have fruit trees. Behind our farm back here, if we look, this is all into either pasture or grasslands, but that used to be in corn for 70 plus years. So when we converted it back to a grazing piece and an active grass-based piece, we saw within 2 years the earthworm population come back. So to me, that tells a lot about how you can work with your landscape, how you can work with the soils. We also have seen, by putting it back into pasture and then rotating it periodically, that we have quite a huge population of turkeys that come through. We've had deer that have come through here as well, that he'll graze in the wintertime when feed may be a little short out in the forest. In our pond that we dug back here, we've seen a variety of wildlife come to the pond. We have a pair of nesting Canadian geese that have been there for about 5 or 6 years that hatch out 4 or 5 goslings, I guess you call them. One year we had Canadian snow geese pop in here. So I think those pieces remind me of conservation, as far as how do we keep that balance? How do we, as keeping it a working landscape, work in harmony with the natural environment that's here and keep us viable so we can continue farming for future years. Hopefully, whether it be our children or future generations, can still work the land and still have it be healthy, productive land.
My name is Richard Lawrence Jr. I'm Rick Lawrence, and I've lived here for it'll be 43 years this fall. When we came here, we were really children. We'd just been married for a couple of years. So we wanted a place where we could raise children, and that's what we did. When we first moved here, it was subsistence and a place to walk. Various times we had cows, we had sheep, we still have chickens. I was teaching school when we came, and I taught school for 33 years here. The neighborhood has changed in that when we moved here, there were 4 houses in a mile on this road, and now there are more than 20. It's been just this gradual realization that what we have here, what we're able to offer our kids, isn't as commonly available anymore. Where we're right now is a 1-acre lot that we've had separate from the rest for 3 decades, and we put the rest in the conservation easement so that there won't be houses there, so that people will be able to harvest the wood and grow crops there.
Has the easement affected the way you use your land?
Oh, not in the least. And I don't see that it will, because the terms of the easement allow us to continue forestry and farming, and that's what its traditional use has been. And that's the purpose of the Sebasticook Regional Land Trust, as far as I'm concerned.
So Sebasticook Regional Land Trust has a history of huge successes that are fueled by the volunteers who contribute their energy, their expertise, and their enthusiasm to getting the work done. From Katie, a high school senior who comes in once a week just to work in the office, a whole legion of folks who come in and help us manage and take care of our lands that we've conserved. And we also have folks who lead our educational programming. I think the next big challenge for Sebasticook Regional Land Trust is growing our membership, growing that base of support. So there's a huge section of the watershed where we need to introduce ourselves, to get to know our communities and understand how we can best serve them, and that takes volunteers in those communities.
So there's this sense of continuity. If I were to put it in a word, conservation and the working landscape, all of these things don't happen overnight. They require people taking a long-term interest.
If they don't build a love of where they are and an understanding and a connection, I mean, that's really what you're looking at. If people don't connect where they live, how can you expect them to care for the area around them?
Some people have such a love of their property that they want to imagine long after they're gone that it's well taken care of. And if I can help that process, I'm glad to.
That's why I got involved with the Land Trust and really feel in my heart that that's the right place to be and to move my energy forward in.